Welcome to UNCAGED, a show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we're talking to one of my good friends, Cynthia Chen. Hi, Cynthia.
How are you, Ben? So nice to see you.
It's great to see you as well, and great to talk to you. Cynthia is the president of North America Health at Reckitt, with their new name. They used to be Reckitt Benckiser, now they are Reckitt. And Cynthia, I'm sure you're going to tell us a lot about that in a second. But before we get into what you're working on right now, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
Happy to. So as you said, that Ben, I am the president for North America Health at Reckitt. A Reckitt name, as to your point, we have changed so many times from Reckitt Benckiser to Reckitt. Finally, it's Reckitt. I actually think that's very punchy. It's easy to pronounce. So yeah, I've been in CPG industry for a very long time. I have known you, Ben, for a very long time.
No. We're only kids. Stop that.
That is right. We're only kids. At least the kids in our mind and in our heart, right? So yeah, I have been a long time in CPG. I am fortunate that I had a lot of firsts. And Ben, you remember so many firsts, right? So the first time we're doing real-time marketing when I was working on Oreo. And then in 2015, with Barna yourself and lots of great agency partners, we also started with the first in DTC. I don't know whether you remember this practice. I actually brought a show and tell. Hey, look at this.
Oh my
remember
God,
that?
that's a collector's item.
Exactly. It's got a color field. But also even at Reckitt, we have a lot of firsts. For instance, in consumer healthcare, nobody does TikTok. We were the first one doing TikTok. And if you talk to TikTok, they will tell you, even within across all the sectors, it's probably the most engaged campaign on TikTok platform. We also did a first time live streaming DTC. Right? So you have seen that we did on YouTube, both for sexual well-being, but also for Mucinex. So really, really exciting. Now, this is something that actually very, very common in China. 3 to 4 years ago, I've already done personally live streaming, but coming to the US, it's actually quite exciting, right? So you see that the tick, right? So you see the products actually selling real time. We sold our Mucinex sickwear within half an hour online, right? So amazing. On YouTube, it's amazing, right? So, but also, as a leader, I also have a lot of intersectionality, right? So I'm a business leader, but I happen to be a female, and I happen to be a leader who happen to be of Asian origin, which is a really hot topic right now. I'm being very lucky that I worked and lived in 3 different continents, but also 2 biggest, the largest economies in the world, which is the United States and China. I've been to so many different countries, so that my job takes me to, so far yesterday I counted event. I've been to 57 countries, right?
Whoa.
Although I will not claim that to say I've been really going to every single corner of those 57 countries, but I certainly landed my feet on 57 countries. I run a business, both global, local, region, global category, but also in the market. So in terms of categories, different sectors, beauty, fashion, household, consumer health, and food, you name it.
Yeah.
So yeah, really exciting, career here.
It's been amazing to see how your career has evolved. I certainly remember the first meeting I think I ever was in with you at Mondelez. It was just a wonderful, for me, Cynthia, it's just kind of like my greatest story about you, where we were in a room with probably about 30 other executives, and 29 executives said no to a very daring idea for the company. And you were the sole voice that said, come on, what are we? Are we going to take a gamble or not? And it ended up being an extremely successful effort for Mondelez. And obviously, I've seen the same things that you've done at GSK and the amazing work that that you did for General Mills in China with Haagen-Dazs, and now at Reckitt. So tell me more a little bit about what's going on with Reckitt and your experiences there.
Yeah, so Racket, we are going through a really phenomenal transformation. We have a new CEO, new leader coming into the organization, and the objective have not changed since day one. That whatever company I work at, the objective is always twofold. The first one is really deliver top tier financial performance. Right. So, and the second one is equally important, if not important, is really build a great place to work. Now, 2020 has always been obviously been very challenging on so many different levels, and for all of us, right? So, and right now, what we are working on is really preparing for post-pandemic, right? So that ranges how to with the office opening and how flexible we are with the folks coming back to the office. The digital transformation, certainly the speed is completely different from before pandemic. Right. So, if you think about e-commerce ecosystem, digital transformation, if we say it's fast, now it's probably 10 times, 50 times faster. I told every single person, even my dad, who's 78, about to turn 79 years old, even use TikTok in Douyin, in that matter, for that matter, in China. It's unthinkable. But also linked with that is cyber security. What about consumer change behavior? How do they order? It's not about what they order, but how fast we can actually ship the product to them. So there's a lot of things we're thinking about. Now, as a business leader.
And I think that when I look at what you've been working on at Reckitt, it's incredible to see the pace of change that you guys have been moving at. I mean, Reckitt's not a small company, but you guys are really moving quickly.
We are. So, if I think about it, right? So I joined the company sometime end of August 2019. So I've been here for about a year and 6 to 7 months time. And thinking back, I felt like, so first and foremost, I feel like I've been here for a long time. Now, part of that is also because I'm a boomerang. I'm coming back. I know exactly what I'm getting into. But also, it's not the old Reckitt Bankiser. It's a completely different company, right? So if I reflect the 1 year and 6 months being here, first and foremost, we delivered the best performance in the last 4 years' time, right? So I cannot tell you the specific data, but certainly we delivered the best performance in the last 4 years. We also now became the best company to work for in the United States. Think about Reckitt, right? So now we are officially Forbes, America's best large company to work for in the United States. So this is something I take a really great pride in, right? So you can do fantastic about business results, but that can only last for 1 year or 2 years. In order to have that sustainable, what I call that good growth or predictably boring growth, you got to build a team, right? Which is a great place to work. Get into a team to believe in the mission, believe in what you want to achieve, and that's you can build a sustainable growth, right? So yeah, lots of things happened, and in addition, this year obviously ERG is super hot topic. We actually formalized all our ERGs, right? So I'm super proud of what the company has allowed to do and what company we in North America have accomplished as a team.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's incredible to see the progress, and honestly, talking to you, Cynthia, is always kind of almost like a pep talk. I feel energized, and I'm excited about what Reckitt is up to. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because I feel it's very important to raise this topic right now, as well as something that I think that you've been tracking for quite a while, which is, in your social media, you've been celebrating Asians and Asian Americans in the workplace for, I think, almost 1.5 years, 2 years now, if I'm correct. And I think it's been a beautiful effort, and it certainly has become one that I think is needed for all parts of society. But tell me about what you're seeing and how the landscape is shifting, and some of the positive steps that we might be able to see going forward.
Yeah, I mean, and Ben, you and me talked about even, not too long ago, right? So it's heartbreaking to see that as a nation, we're so divided, right? So divided not only the parties, but also the races that, all these kind of talk. So last year, when we saw that AAPI become being targeted, As a matter of fact, I just saw one report that was saying by end of, I think by beginning of this year or end of last year, there were about 3,800 cases of hate crimes, right? So against AAPI in particular, and as a country, that 2020 our hate crimes coming down about -7%. However, from AAPI actually went up by more than 150%. So at that point, for me, is really as a leader who happened to be, of Asian origin, I thought about so many different things, heartbreaking, anger. But then quickly I realized that, feeling that is not sufficient. Is that what can I do to help? So two things I did. One is really create awareness, right? Awareness about this is not acceptable. And we as a community should be, have a secret allyship or work with across all the communities and build that unity. The second piece is actually also another show and tell is that I put together this book. Have you seen this book? From beginning to the end, 30 days, right? So it's called Be a Helper. So look at it, right? So I need to send you one copy, right? Beautiful. Is that instead of talking about the hate crimes, so how do we actually celebrate business leaders, right? So started last year, I profiled probably 30 plus people, and it's just the beginning, right? So we're gonna continue to do that. So this is the volume 1, right? So after we profiled on LinkedIn, and then we actually came up with this, sort of like a, book. Mm-hmm. And this is also representing we as a leader, how we can really come in and act and be a helper, right? So by the end of the day, we cannot just be aware, just to talk about and be a victimize ourselves. Is that how do we actually change that experience to be more positive and do something about it? And I see that.
I think that to me is one of the great things that we've noticed about. Maybe it's as I'd say correctly stating it, but true leaders that took a stand on issues over 2020, but also followed them up with actions. And I think that that's really what your book is getting at, and certainly what I've seen with you, which has been spectacular.
Yeah, it has been, the response from community has been fantastic, right? So the book encompasses of Erica Yuan to Michael Shu that I used to work for at Kraft, to Nick Tran, to Sephora CMO, and Deborah. So it, encompasses across all the business leaders who have not only been successful at what they do day to day at work, but also they have strong conviction that how they can be a helper. So being a helper is that you're going to have all these group of people and come together and help our society. So to me is that, you have me talking, I learned so much from you, Ben, actually, influenced so much by you. You talked about the energy, but energy builds on energy. Positive energy builds on positive energy, right? So, so for me, it's really to say that how as a leader, that we can, and do something about it and make sure that we are useful and provides that utility. The utility doesn't necessarily mean that, if you don't have a job, I find you a job, but also connecting, right? So how do you actually connect with people and talk about it? I may not be able to find you a job, but I can certainly listen to you and provide advices, right? So those are the things that day in and day out I'm thinking about.
So, over the pandemic, certainly this has been, I'd say, kind of the social change issue has been almost a backdrop that we've all seen and participated and actioned when possible. But on a personal level and maybe, a professional level, the pandemic certainly has presented tons of challenges, and just be curious to kind of hear what's keeping you sane this year of what we've lived through, as well as kind of some of the things that you guys are planning as you prepare for that post-pandemic world.
That's a wonderful question. I actually think that, I used to be a professional athlete, so working out certainly is helping me. I have this app, Freeletics. They actually track your progress as tailored for you. So every single day, I'm trying to at least put in 15 minutes I also started to do the walk around meeting. So instead of sitting in my apartment, I actually walk around, right? So there's some noises, but it's actually really energized me. But the silver lining of that, of this pandemic, is also giving me more opportunities to connect with my people. Every Friday, I actually have Friday breakfast meeting, and now I have been gone through every single person on my team. So imagine in the office, it's not possible, Ben, that you can actually meet every single employee of your team.
Right.
But because of this silver lining, 8 o'clock or 8:30 Friday morning, then I have a 10, 15 people actually have their breakfast meeting with me. We have coffee together. We don't talk about work, but rather say, hey, how are you? What can I do for you? Right. So, and we even talk about how do you have a babysitter? How do we think about in the future that, and the flexible workspace? How do we work together? So yeah, it's a silver lining. Connecting with, my people, but also even connecting with you now. We have this session here. Really keeps me sane.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. Finding maybe almost another level, a deeper form of humanity through this technology. I feel like that's happening in my life as well, and it's also almost repositioning and rethinking what that world will be like post-pandemic. I think a lot of the talk you hear is, well, will people rush back to the office? And I think people may be missing something that's perhaps broader, which is we may have fundamentally changed as people of how we interact and what we expect, and I'm very excited to see the different models that could be coming out of this.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I am thinking about, right? So, obviously it's not only marketing, the consumer behavior change. How do you, sell the products to them, versus, digital? But that's everybody's talking about this. But as a president of North American Health, I'm also thinking about what about supply chain? What's the balance between just in time versus just in case, right? So if I think about my supply network is across different 6, 7 countries, 4 continents, and is this best way to lay out? That's one. And then you also think about operating model. So for consumer healthcare, obviously beside our sales team, we also have HCP, which is you sell to doctors, professionals. And in the past, you're going to go to office. We call that detailing, right? So we're going to talk to the doctor, say, hey, this product has this benefit and this benefit. Now, suddenly you can actually do online. The question is, how do you actually do that, right? And then if you think about LinkedIn, for doctors, they have a separate LinkedIn. It's called Doximity. All the doctors on that. So how do we actually partner with them and detailing a different way? That's also something I'm thinking about. So yeah, that makes me think differently, and certainly from efficiency and even for the operating model, more not even efficiency but effective. There's a new thinking, right? So that's bubbling in my head, and how do we do that?
Yeah, I think some of those are going to be key issues, and certainly going forward, I love the point that you were just raising, which is that just in case versus just in time. We we last week, I think it was that the story of the Suez Canal where it was blocked up and suddenly no ships could pass to Europe. And
That's right.
it was one of those moments where I think that people just forget how products and logistics and raw materials and all of these things actually come together. But you're absolutely right. In a world that starts to factor in things like pandemics and restructuring, you really have to think about logistics in a new way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, right. So the key word in my mind of moving forward, Ben, is unity, right? So unity is at so many different levels, right? Personal levels, I want to unite with my dad. My dad is in China by himself, so I could not wait to after all this done, I can travel back to China, actually give my dad a big hug. I miss the hugging. I'm a hug people, right? So if you segment people, there's so many different people, but I'm a hug people. When I see you, I want to give you a hug and say, hey, man, so nice to see you. But now we cannot do that. On business level, without unity, then your supply chain break down because your products, for instance, the products are from different countries that you cannot ship it here. And it's slower, it's pricey, and at some time you can even not get a product, right? So And at a societal level, I think it's super important is that as a country, as a world, how do we have more acceptance, more tolerance, and more unity? Because by the end of the day, there's only one race, which is called a human race, right? So to me, that I just cannot wait, right? Cannot wait to have
look,
a united.
that message really resonates with me as someone who's spent over half of my professional career in life outside of the United States. Sometimes I find this quite often kind of misunderstanding and in the worst cases, xenophobia, just kind of perplexing and so sad. And I think finding that commonality and those bridges is going to be absolutely critical for us to have any form of future, any form of future. So unity, I think I'll adopt that word as well, Cynthia. I think that's a spectacular way to think about this stuff. Cynthia, I want to thank you so much for being on Uncaged today. If people wanted to reach you, where's the best place for them to find you?
So yeah, my email address at Reckitt is cynthia.chen@rb.com. So I'm happy to help. To my earlier point, how do I be useful? To be a really good helper for everyone, particularly in our industry.
That's great. Well, listen, Cynthia, thank you so much for being on Uncaged today. We've been talking to Cynthia Chen. She is the president of North America Health at Reckitt. Reckitt is obviously one of the larger health CPG companies in the world. She's had a spectacular career where she's innovated in almost every category that she's touched, and very, very excited and inspired today by what she's been talking to us about. We've been talking to Cynthia on Uncaged, a show that gives amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to commerce of tomorrow. Cynthia, thank you so much for being on Uncaged.
It's my pleasure. So great talking to you today.
Cheers. See you soon.
See you.